Good morning, everybody. For Finger Lakes 1, I'm Jim Sinacropi sitting in for Josh Durso, and it's inside the FLX. Tall Cop Says Stop was created by Officer Jermaine Galloway, an Idaho law enforcement officer since 1997, and is regarded as one of America's top experts in various drug and alcohol trends. He specialized in underage drinking and drug enforcement for more than 15 years, and since 2009, Officer Galloway has won 4 national awards and 1 international award for his work. In addition to his numerous talks at conferences and other events, he has personally trained more than 105,000 people nationwide. Officer Galloway's many years of experience have taught him one thing above all else. In his words, you can't stop what you don't know. So with that in mind, Officer Galloway will be returning to Seneca County for a presentation on Monday, October 1st at Waterloo High School. And here to talk about the benefits of having Officer Galloway return to Seneca County, we have Waterloo Central Schools District Superintendent Terri Bavis, Waterloo Police Department Chief of Police Jason Godley, and CEO of Generations Bank, Menzo Case. And so good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming into the studio.
Good morning.
And we have 3-person panel here this morning, which is exciting. And first off, Superintendent Bavis, how excited are you to have this type of presentation, in your district?
We're very excited to be able to offer this opportunity to our families and to our community, and also to extend it to the rest of Seneca County. This information will be invaluable for our parents and our staff and our greater community, and we're really looking forward to it on Monday.
And Menzo, you've been involved with the first time that Tall Cop and Officer Galloway were here in Seneca County. Why don't you explain just to our viewers exactly what Tall Cop is?
Well, Tall Cop, he's a dynamic speaker, and he's an individual that's well versed in the drug culture. Not so much as a user, thankfully, but more of an educator. So his mantra is, you can't stop what you don't know. I think we've done this how many times, Kristen? 3 times? This is our third time? Our second time? I've seen him 3 times, though, I think. Mm-hmm. So we're really excited to have him because one thing he does, he sets up a room, a kid's room, and then takes you through it and shows you how the drug culture might have been or is evident in the room, and will give the parents telltale signs that their child might be in trouble. By way of reference, I've had testimonies from parents that have gone, and as a result, they've gone through their children's room and they have found that they had a problem. They weren't even aware of it. Mm-hmm. And they, thankfully, in one particular case, I know they really did a nice job of educating, and the kid's doing great now. And otherwise, I don't think he would have went down that path. I think it would have been a totally different path. So he gets us information, gets it in our hands. He tells you what the culture, how it's being placed in our schools. We don't even know how the kids are supporting it without knowing it, and in some cases knowingly. And it tells you you can tell who's dealing, unfortunately, and who's buying just by listening to this guy and seeing what he's doing. It's quite a shocking wake-up call. We're excited to be a sponsor of it.
Yeah, I think many times parents might assume they have a good overview of everything that's going on with their kids and their friends and everything in school, but there is, as anybody who is a teenager knows, there's a second world that they kind of shield from their parents. So I suppose this is a type of presentation that's most important for parents to kind of see what's what really could be going on and what they should be looking out for.
Well, there's 2 parts to it. There's an educator, and police officers, educators, and social workers, and those folks that really deal with the kids. That's during the morning, and then there's the evening is for the anybody in the community, and we're really, I'll tell you, it's worth it. And with the daycare, the child care, Terry's set up in their school, it's going to be, every family can go. There's no excuse not to be there.
So, Chief, you're on the ground in the community, and how serious is the drug and substance abuse problem in Waterloo or surrounding communities, not just Waterloo, but for school-age kids?
Yeah, I mean, we all see the news. We all see kind of what's going on. We hear the trends. The community, in Waterloo anyways, is trying to be more active in helping out with the drug problem that we do have. It's not just Waterloo, it's not just Seneca County, it's not just New York, it's countrywide. We're having these issues. So the more education that we can get out, not just to our officers, but to the community, the parents, the caretakers, the educators, the better off we're going to be in combating this problem. So, I mean, we're seeing this all over. We're seeing, drugs leading to other crimes, not just in the school districts, but, out in the streets as well, leading to, larcenies, robberies, burglaries, to feed their addiction. So the better that we can prepare ourselves through education, like through these programs, the better we can fight against that and prevent some of these other secondary crimes that are popping up. And
Terry, this is beginning your third school year as superintendent in Waterloo, and from an educator's perspective, why is this so important for the community to see and hear and learn about?
Well, I think as you mentioned, based on the biography information you gave on Tall Cop and also what Menzo just talked about, it's difficult to stop things if you don't know about them. So the educational piece of this is very important to our staff and to our families to help us make sure that we're paying attention to signs that might be within our schools or maybe within homes and within the community of activity that kids may be involved in. The education piece is important, trying to help kids understand that, this is not really the way to go, and we need to help them if they're having issues. And so being able to flesh those out through a program like this, so we're all more aware, and things have changed, in that mainstream since I was in high school, since probably any of us were in high school. The signs and symbols and drugs of choice and all those things have changed. They change all the time, which is why I think it's important to continue to bring this type of programming back to the county. I think it's really smart because year to year things change even. So we need to make sure that we're keeping current and that we're informing our community and our parents of ways that they can help their children. And we're very grateful to both Generations Bank and to Senator Pam Helming's office for the financial support that they've provided for this program. We are always mindful of the dollars that we spend, and so it's really helpful to have that kind of support from the community through Generations Bank and also through Senator Helming's office.
And Menzo, Generations Bank is a big supporter of so many things in the community, and you've made it a point to not only support this, but continually support it as we bring it back again and again. Why do you think it's so important to continually bring Tall Cop back to the area?
Well, as I said, the feedback that we get it's great information, but people are acting on it. So I've got families that have found their kids had a problem, and they've been able to help them through it. We also have, because of this and because of their interaction with the effects of drugs in their lives, we've got folks now talking right here in Waterloo, Seneca Falls, about putting a home together for those that have overcome drugs and they need a transitional home. So we're talking about putting one of those together. The more that we're
any more details on that?
Well, I can tell you. You can talk to Ansa Androni. I'll throw her in the bag. She brought it to light, and she's the one that really talked to me about it. And of course, housing is a big deal to me. So she's actively looking for a 4-bedroom apartment or a 4-bedroom home to place as a transitional home for those that have overcome their drug habits and to give them a fresh start. There's Mark Hamlin, Hamlin Pools right in Waterloo. I just talked to him yesterday, and he's excited about the opportunities that he's starting to see to help families that are just devastated by this opioid crisis. Now marijuana is going to be, it's even worse than it used to be. I just can't imagine. The THC content is so much higher that we don't really realize that the pot that they're talking about today is not the pot that President Clinton didn't inhale. This is new stuff. So what I'm seeing is a grassroots movement here in our county to help families and help kids, help those that have been caught up in this terrible addiction, and that's why I keep pushing for sponsorship. It's a big deal. We've got to do better.
As a parent of a 12-year-old, soon to be 13-year-old, it's scary because we as a parent, you feel like you teach your kids right from wrong, and I think at that certain age, that elementary school up to about middle school, most kids are like, I would never do drugs. I would never get into that stuff. It's horrible. But then, as you get into middle school and high school, and peer pressure, and just the nature of teenagers, I think that she's vulnerable, and all kids are vulnerable. So it is, as a parent, it's scary because you've seen it before where an experiment here or a gateway, whether it's marijuana or cigarettes or drinking a beer, can lead to bigger problems, especially for certain kids with certain types of personalities. So we appreciate, I think all parents appreciate what Generations Bank does and what the local law enforcement and school districts do to try to, curb this issue.
We do have DARE in the schools, and it's it's great to see that. And Generation's a big supporter of DARE, but that's 5th grade.
Yeah.
And the threshold, and maybe the chief or Terry can speak to it more than I, the threshold seems to be around 6th grade, that these kids really are making decisions. And it certainly is 6th, 7th, and 8th. Yeah. There's a lot of different peer pressure, middle school. And that's, what is that? I don't even know how old they are. 11, 12?
12, 13, 14.
Mm-hmm. And these are the kids that are making decisions that are going to affect them immediately. And we're talking about drugs. One hit, one try, you're hooked. And at 11 years old, what do you do?
Well, so Chief, do you see this type of activity with youth in the community?
What we're seeing a lot, I think Terry can kind of speak to this too, is we're seeing a lot of the vaping is huge in the school. And the problem with that is, they can hide a lot of stuff in the vapes. We're not exactly sure what they even have in there and what they're using them for. The laws really haven't caught up to the technology, I guess, for lack of a better word, for the vaping itself. So we're all trying to come of age and try to figure out the best way to handle those situations. But yeah, definitely the middle school is a pivotal age group. That's where we really want to hit. I'm a father of 4. I well populate the Waterloo School District with my 4 children, so it's definitely a concern, for me as well. Having our kids there and making sure that we are educating them and making sure they are making the right choices, and any avenue we can to do that, either through training or through speakers or through what stuff that we do with our school resource officer, Sergeant Kraft's up there and has been up there for 8-10 years now and does a fantastic job with the kids. And all those pieces, I think, put together really start to formulate a good plan of prevention and helping kids that do get caught up in some of the peer pressure moments.
So, Terry, who can go to this?
Anybody in the county, anybody outside of the county. We've advertised this widely, and we've made it clear that anybody who would like to attend is welcome to attend. So parents, community members, if you have children, we're happy to help out with childcare. We're happy to feed everybody so you don't have to worry about dinner and you can get there.
Is there any cost to any of that?
There is no cost. We do not have any events going on. I guess there might be one sectional tennis game that was unknown by us at the moment, but we made sure that we didn't have any events going on so parents could get there tonight or Monday night. So we want to make sure that as many people attend as possible.
So you mentioned childcare and dinner. Where would that be? Where would people go? And how would, if they decide watching the show that they want to go and they want to bring their 4-year-old along and have dinner and go to the presentation, where would they go?
So you just enter Waterloo High School. If you turn to the right, you'll head down to the cafeteria. That's where dinner is. It's pizza and cookies and apples and water. And then childcare will be either in the library or the gymnasium. We have student council is helping out with that and a couple of the athletic teams. So we'll have plenty of our students on hand to help out with the childcare, and also the advisors for those groups will be there. So there's adult supervision also.
Is there any type of follow-up to this once the presentation's over that you'll do within the schools with the kids?
Well, the knowledge base is really for the adults.
Right.
This is for the adults to know, have a better picture of what might be going on within our schools and within our community and homes. And so the follow-up will be, we have a parent advisory group that just started. We met last week, and it's small right now. We're hoping to get more people to come and attend for programming in the future. We're trying to offer something monthly at the secondary level for students around these topics we have a vaping presentation that Mary Lou Lang will be providing at some point next month. Rachel's Challenge is coming in at the middle school next month. So we're trying to pull all the pieces together through social emotional learning and supporting kids emotionally in the school system, and then also providing the education about why drugs are not good for you and alternatives to help you feel good about what you do every day in school and in life.
And Chief, do you have any type of interaction with parents concerning this? Do you get phone calls or questions? Like, how much do parents in the community turn to you?
There's a lot of concern in the community for sure. Menzo mentioned Mark Hamblin. Mark is a friend of mine. We coach sports together, and he has really stepped up with his business to try to formulate a group within our area for support, for anything that we can do to try to help kids in that situation. So there is a definite strong movement within the Waterloo community that I can speak of that are really trying to make a difference in our community, try to help with the opioid overdose and anything that's going on with these kids, not just that one small target area. They want to be able to help branch out all over the place. So, I mean, Mark and I have had conversations, and some of the other community members, people come in, what can we do? Looking for answers. I try to enforce, they're small incremental stages. We're not going to just kick the door down and fix this all in one motion. It's going to take a long time for us to get a lot of pieces in place to do this. And that's why, I've really advocated for this program. And I really think if you have any sort of connection to a child, even if you're a parent, a caretaker, an educator, daycare provider, you really need to try to make an effort to attend this. It's a very eye-opening, and it shows exactly kind of how kids are hiding and what they're doing to hide, and signs and things that we've never picked up on. I know a lot of law enforcement officers have attended this and come back and went, I had no idea that this was going on. And it was very, very educational for them as well. So, I really, people out there listening here today, I really say if you can get your time to get out there, get to the school, take the time to really sit down and listen to what this guy has to say, because it really is eye-opening.
Yeah, last year's Tall Cop presentation was in Seneca Falls, and so many parents came away from that with their eyes open a little bit more of aware of the type of things that they need to look for. And I think that's what kind of sets this thing apart from some of your more standard anti-drug or substance abuse programs, is that there's real world application that parents can go home immediately and feel like they maybe are a little more prepared for the teenage years and the middle school years for their kids. And so in that regard, it's great to see it coming back. And
well, we mentioned Mark a few times, Mark Hamlin. He booked our our boardroom in our headquarters on Saturday, October 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. for that particular outreach to the community to provide assistance, to talk about the opiate crisis, to just walk through a few things. I don't have a lot of details. We just did this yesterday. So this is the type of thing that the Tall Cop's causing to happen. He's the impetus. We're seeing more and more people that are interested in helping our kids, helping our community. This is a terrible, terrible thing, and we've got to just keep the ball moving forward. So, once again, I'll mention it. We've got to have a home for these folks when they get out of the crisis. We've got to have a place for them, and we've got to continue the education. I love DARE. I think it's critical. My kids were all in it, and I'll tell you, they learned from it. But it's the middle school and the high schoolers. We've got to have resource officers there. We've got to suck it up, pay the money, get them there, and then we've got to have ongoing programs. And I really appreciate what our schools are doing. Certainly Terry's mentioned a few things with education, ongoing, and this is all going to take time to correct. So it's really it's great to be a part of this.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here today to talk about this and encourage those watching to come out to Waterloo High School on Monday, October 1st. That's this Monday, so it's October's here. 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Again, there'll be dinner in the cafeteria at Waterloo High School at 5:30, If you can't find someone to watch your young kids, they'll have childcare available, and it's really a heralded and eye-opening presentation. And they call him Tall Cop because he's 6'9". He is tall, so that's a spectacle in and of itself to see a 6'9" officer on the stage presenting. So we encourage everybody to go. And Chief Godley, thanks for coming in today and for all your efforts in the community. And Superintendent Bavis, thank you for coming in as well and for putting this together and hosting this. And Menzo, as usual, thanks to Generations Bank for everything that they do in the community and for making this possible.
Thank you, Jim.
So Josh Durso will be back for the next edition of Inside the FLX. You can see all the episodes of Inside the FLX at FingerLakes1.tv. The audio versions are available on iTunes and wherever podcasts are consumed. For Josh Durso, I'm Jim Sinacropi saying have a great day, everybody. And once again, Tall Cop presentation Monday, October 1st, Waterloo High School, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m.